Hello everyone and welcome to the newest review on this channel. And hey, I've got a new gimmick for you today. It's called the BritBox. Oh, just a second, I'm getting a phone call. Excuse me for a moment. Hello? Oh, I see. And it's not a box. Okay, I'll tell them. Well, my mom says the name BritBox is already copyrighted, so for legal purposes, we'll be calling this the Motion Picture Dustbin. The way it works is I review a British movie, and if it's any good and stands the test of time, it'll live a long, honorable life as a piece of meaningless, dead media. Or, if it's no good, it gets the dustbin. And hey, what better movie to try this out on than 1970s British filmmaking excess incarnate? That's right. Oh, Lucky Man. Well, everyone, you'll have to forgive me. I'm not in the greatest of moods. Oh, lucky man? More like, oh, unlucky man. I just discovered that I shot this review already and the footage is unusable. So I'm gonna have to just sit here and sweat like a pig and be miserable.
Smile.
Why, it's Lindsay Anderson, director of Oh, Lucky Man. I still don't feel like smiling, though.
Just do it.
Didn't you hear what I just said? I have to reshoot the whole review and be really hot during it.
Smile.
But why should I smile? I'm in a bad mood.
Don't ask why.
Oh, Lucky Man is a 1973 satirical comedy drama directed by Lindsay Anderson, and it's part of a sort of official, sort of not official trilogy with the character Mick Travis, played by Malcolm McDowell, which started in the 1968 film If, and was bookended by 1982's Britannia Hospital. A lot of the same actors are carried over from If into Oh Lucky Man and then also Britannia Hospital. It's very random, it's all over the place, it's sprawling, it's uneven, it can be frustrating. All that said, I think you know where I'm going with this. It's my favorite Malcolm McDowell movie. It's a highlight of 70s movies for me. I absolutely love this movie. It started as a treatment from McDowell, who put in his own real-life experiences as a coffee salesman, and then was further developed by screenwriter David Sherwin, who also wrote If and Britannia Hospital. In terms of a character, Mick Travis is really just a blank slate. The actual plot of the movie can be very hard to follow. It's got this kind of Kafkaesque, nightmarish feeling. It's anxiety-inducing. It's very episodic. It just moves from one scene to another. And there's also the somewhat unusual decision to have musician Alan Price come in and break the fourth wall and keep singing these songs that describe the plot. I've seen his role described as the Greek chorus, which I think is pretty apt. There are many allusions to Clockwork Orange throughout the movie, so if anything, there's a closer connection to that movie than there is to If. I've also seen it suggested that this movie is inspired by Voltaire's Candide, one of my favorite books. Man, that book must have been really getting around in the 70s and late 60s, because I recently reviewed the movie Candy, and that was also based on Candide. In short, the main point of Voltaire's Candide is a critique on metaphysical optimism, or for the durders like me out there, everything happens for a reason and we're living our best lives. Not. And this is a comedy in a much more traditional sense, much more based on situations and like a mounting energy and a forward momentum that just won't let up. You're more just laughing at the sheer absurdity of the whole thing. It's one of those, you know, the sum is greater than the parts type deals. But what I think I like the most about Oh Lucky Man is that it's somewhere in the middle of If and Britannia Hospital. You know, it retains some of the sharp satire of If, but it's also sprawling and crazy and just throwing everything at the wall, much like Britannia Hospital does. And I actually liked Britannia Hospital, but this one is just going all out. Director Lindsay Anderson had already done plenty of work before he put If under his belt. He was more known as a stage director, but he was a big central part of that 50s and 60s angry young man, British new wave kitchen sink drama movement, along with directors such as Tony Richardson and John Schlesinger. But this movie completely leaves behind that realism and grit of the 50s and 60s for something that's firmly placed in the 1970s. You know, I think we really just need to bring back this era of directors who have a hit movie and then are given a blank check and then just go completely insane in a totally different direction than what we're expecting. I mean, just the sheer gall of putting out this movie. I gotta respect that. I would put this movie in a similar category to one I did several reviews ago called How I Won the War. Both are very British and eccentric, and even though I would say I have a moderate grasp of the socio-economic climate of that time and place, I'm still hopelessly lost through parts of the movie. So of course there's a part of me that wishes the movie was a little bit shorter, because honestly it's a pretty big commitment. At a certain point, a movie, especially one at 3 hours, has to ebb and flow and have slower parts and let you catch your breath a bit, and in that respect I can see why on a second viewing how Alan Price's contributions are so important to continuing the energy of the movie and picking it up. I think the ending scene also is very triumphant. It really ties the whole thing together. It becomes very meta and almost becomes the story leading up to the making of If, or the actual movie we're watching. So Mick Travis goes into a casting audition. Mick Travis is chosen by Lindsay Anderson, the actual director of the movie, and he's given various objects like a stack of books and a machine gun, and he's judged on his appearance, much like he's judged on his appearance at the beginning of the movie. And so then the ultimate test for him to get the job is his ability to smile. And again, this is coming full circle because it's the smiling that got him on his path in the first place, whereas now, for the last 3 hours, his spirit has been completely broken and he's no longer happy and he can't smile anymore. He refuses to smile until at the end, when Lindsay Anderson simply smacks him in the face with a binder, and then he does a slow smile, again a little bit like Clockwork Orange, but this is also a connection to real life once again, because the actress Christine Noonan slapped Malcolm McDowell in a scene in If, and he said in interviews numerous times that this was almost like slapping him awake into a different state of consciousness with respect to acting. And that's about it. I really like this movie, as I said. It's difficult to recommend, much like all the other movies I do on this channel. I just love the complete audaciousness and the sprawling, crazy vision. And so my final ruling and judgment on this DVD, it most certainly does not belong in the dustbin. We'll save that for other movies. Well, that just about does it for this episode. Stay cool and stay sexy.